We'll start this morning with some big breaking news.
U.S. President Donald Trump has once again placed himself at the center of controversy after declaring that he intends to sue the New York Times for £11 billion. The announcement, made in typical Trump fashion with strong language and bold accusations, has sent ripples across the political and media landscapes. Trump, who has long had a contentious relationship with mainstream media outlets, particularly The Times, claims the publication has waged a years-long campaign of defamation and character assassination against him. According to his remarks, the lawsuit is aimed at holding the paper accountable for what he describes as lies, fabrications, and malicious reporting intended to damage his political career, personal reputation, and business legacy. The decision to seek damages of such a staggering amount reflects both the seriousness of Trump's grievances and the scale at which he views the alleged harm inflicted upon him. For Trump, the New York Times is more than just a newspaper. It is, in his words, an enemy of the people that has been at the forefront of what he believes is a coordinated effort to undermine him since he announced his first presidential campaign in 2015. Throughout his time in office and even after leaving it, The Times has published numerous investigative pieces, editorials, and reports critical of Trump's policies, conduct, and finances. Some of these have led to legal inquiries, political fallout, and international debates, which Trump insists were grounded in falsehoods and biased reporting. The threat of a $15 billion lawsuit, while dramatic, is not entirely surprising given Trump's history of leveraging legal battles as both a defensive shield and a political weapon. His career as a real estate mogul was punctuated by lawsuits, both filed and received, often as a means to intimidate opponents or protect his brand image. During his presidency, Trump threatened multiple times to change libel laws to make it easier to sue media organizations, though such efforts never materialized. Now, by directly targeting the New York Times, he appears intent on reviving that fight in a personal and high-stakes manner. Legal experts, however, have quickly weighed in, questioning the viability of Trump's proposed lawsuit. In the United States, defamation laws heavily favor the press, especially when the subject is a public figure such as a sitting or former president. To succeed in a defamation case, Trump would need to prove not only that the New York Times published false information, but that it did so with actual malice, meaning with knowledge of its falsity or with reckless disregard for the truth. The Supreme Court's landmark 1964 case New York Times Co. v. Sullivan set this precedent, making it exceedingly difficult for public officials to prevail in such suits. As a result, while Trump may succeed in drawing headlines and rallying his base with the announcement, the likelihood of securing $15 billion in damages is slim. Nevertheless, the political dimensions of the lawsuit cannot be overlooked. Trump remains a polarizing figure, commanding fierce loyalty from millions of supporters while facing equally fierce opposition. His ongoing battles with the media resonate with his base, who often share his disdain for outlets like the New York Times, CNN, and the Washington Post. By framing himself as the victim of media bias and dishonesty, Trump reinforces a narrative that has served him well in both electoral campaigns and fundraising drives. Already, conservative media and online forums are celebrating his move as a long-overdue strike against what they perceive as the arrogance and power of the liberal press. The New York Times, for its part, has stood by its reporting, emphasizing its commitment to fact-based journalism and its record of exposing truths of significant public interest. Editors at the paper have not commented directly on the threatened lawsuit but have historically defended their work against Trump's criticisms by highlighting the number of Pulitzer Prizes won under his presidency for coverage of topics such as his finances, Russian election interference, and his administration's handling of major policy issues. The paper's leadership has often framed Trump's attacks as an assault on press freedom, warning that such rhetoric poses a danger to democratic institutions. The timing of Trump's declaration is also notable. It comes amid a heated political climate in the United States, with Trump positioning himself for a return to power and continuing to dominate the Republican Party. By escalating his war against the media, Trump ensures that his name remains in the headlines, a strategy that has consistently worked in his favor. While critics argue that the lawsuit is a distraction from more pressing issues such as foreign policy, the economy, and domestic governance, Trump seems confident that challenging the New York Times head-on will energize his supporters and maintain his outsider appeal. International observers are watching closely as well, noting how the move reflects broader trends of populist leaders clashing with established media institutions. Around the world, journalists and press advocates worry about the chilling effect that high-profile lawsuits or threats of litigation can have on independent reporting. While the United States legal system provides robust protections for journalists, the symbolic weight of a former president suing one of the nation's leading newspapers cannot be underestimated. It reinforces the perception that Trump's battles extend beyond politics into cultural and institutional warfare, where the stakes are not just about money or reputation but about the boundaries of press freedom itself. From a financial perspective, the $15 billion figure is strikingly high. Even if Trump were to win in court, damages of that magnitude would be unprecedented in defamation cases, particularly against a media organization. Analysts note that the number likely reflects more of a political statement than a realistic expectation, serving to amplify the drama of the announcement. The figure itself communicates Trump's belief in the scale of harm he claims to have suffered, whether or not it bears legal weight. Ultimately, Trump's announcement marks yet another chapter in his long-running feud with the media. Whether the lawsuit proceeds or fades as political theater, it underscores his ongoing reliance on conflict to define his public persona. To his critics, it is a stunt designed to silence legitimate journalism and deflect from uncomfortable truths. To his supporters, it is a bold act of defiance against a media establishment they see as corrupt and dishonest. For the New York Times, it is a reminder of both the influence it wields and the constant scrutiny it faces for its reporting on one of the most divisive figures in modern American history. As the story unfolds, attention will focus not only on the legal mechanics of the threatened lawsuit but also on the broader implications for democracy, journalism, and political discourse. Trump may or may not succeed in court, but he has already succeeded in reigniting the debate over the role of the press, the limits of defamation law, and the power dynamics between elected leaders and the institutions that hold them accountable. In doing so, he continues to shape the national conversation, ensuring that his battles, whether in politics or the courtroom, remain a central feature of American life.